What's up, guys? Today I want to do a video especially for people who are looking to buy a Jeep Wrangler, specifically the JKU, and you're kind of on the fence between either buying the newer gen, which I would consider be from 2012 through the current year, or if you're looking to buy like the first gen, which I would consider a 2007 through 2011, 10. If you're trying to pick to choose which one would you really want to go for, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on should you buy the newer gen or is it still worth buying the older gen JKUs. Right, so the first things first, this is my Jeep. So 2010, and this is obviously the first gen JKUs. And the first thing I will say, all of the JKUs, they look pretty much the same. From the untrained eye, you could not tell any difference. From the exterior, they're pretty much all the same. There may be some small little pieces here and there, but looking at it, you couldn't really tell that there's any difference at all. The biggest thing with these older JKUs is the interior. Now, this interior is definitely a bit more rugged and, it's not as nice as the newer ones. I will say the newer ones, they do have a much better interior. Looking back at this interior, I don't think it's really that bad. But, if you do a couple little upgrades here and there, which one thing I do plan on doing is getting a different head unit. If you get a different head unit put in and, you have some nicer seat covers, that kind of helps out a lot. If you do small things here and there, you can really make this interior a much more livable interior. For me personally, I think it's fine. Especially for the money, I think this interior it's a decent one, but you are getting what you pay for, so, just think about that. So, obviously, one of the bigger things is just the interior. Now, this is just mostly for the front. Inside the back seats, yeah, so I'm sitting in the back seats, and the back seats are pretty much the same. The seats are going to be a little bit different, but overall in the back is pretty much the same. It's really the front that's going to be the biggest difference, and the dashboard and everything like that. And just to give you guys a kind of a comparison of what the newer interior will look like, this is not a Wrangler, this is a Compass, but this is pretty much, this is going to be almost the exact steering wheel that's going to come inside the new Wranglers from 2011 through the current year. That's the exact steering wheel. It's not going to look exactly like this, but it's going to look similar. The actual shift knob is going to look similar to this. It's a much better looking feel. It's still going to be some kind of hard plastics, but there are going to be some nice soft touch materials around. Obviously, like I said, this is not a Wrangler, this is a Compass, which I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the comments. People are going to say don't compare a Compass to a Wrangler, but it's still a, Chrysler product, and it's still a Jeep. So you can kind of get a quick comparison of what a newer gen Wrangler, the interior, will look like. It will look similar to this, not exactly. And like I said, these are what the seats will probably, they're going to look like this, but if you go with the higher trend, they're going to have the Sahara embroidery in here and like better seats. But overall, this is what it's going to kind of look like. It looks a lot better, but you're going to have your four-wheel drive shifter is going to be here versus inside the Compass, which is actually inside the Compass, which is kind of weird, is actually it's like here. This is just like a little switch to go into four-wheel drive. And then another major difference is going to be the transmission. Inside these older Jeeps, you're going to be getting a 4-speed automatic, or you can get the manual. I believe that's either 5. Yes, actually that is a 5-speed manual. These 4-speed automatics, you can tell that they're definitely dated. They don't get the best fuel economy, and they're not the greatest. And the newer ones, you do get a 5-speed automatic, which in comparison now, now we have the new 8 speeds, which I believe that's coming inside the new JLs. Those are, the 5-speed compared to the 4-speed, they're definitely a improvement. But, if you're just driving around day to day, you're not really going to notice any type of real difference. But if you are going to be doing any type of performance driving, or, just, I guess I really want to say off performance driving, but if you're more oriented and you kind of know more about cars and just how the car drives and when it shifts and everything like that, you can tell a 4-speed from a 5-speed. Yeah, so that is another difference that you are going to have to take into consideration. The 5-speed is going to get better fuel economy, especially compared with the new engine. The 4-speed, it's pretty much exactly like a 3-speed and like a overdrive gear. So yeah, you kind of gotta just live with that. But it is what it is inside the older gens. But you do have to take that into consideration as well. Second biggest component is the engine. Now they put this 3.8 liter V6 inside the 2007 through 2011. The reason why I say 2011 is kind of a weird year because that's the year where they had the newer interior but the older engine, and inside 2012 they put the new 3.6 Pentastar inside the Jeeps along with the new interiors. So if you're on the fence, 2010 I would say is definitely the cutoff point of this engine with the older interior. 2011 newer interior, old engine. Then 2012 through current is going to be the Pentastar with the newer interior. But this engine pumps out around 205 or 202 horsepower. And, to be fair, a lot of people say this engine is underpowered. I would say that more than anything, it's just your gearing. Just depending on which gears you have set up, that's going to be, a big contributing factor. But definitely, I can say this engine probably needs, a little bit of love. And yes, this 3.8, it's getting kind of long in the tooth. When you get the Pentastar, it gives you a pretty good bump in power, and I believe in towing as well. So but if you're not looking to tow or anything like that, the 3.8, it's an adequate engine. It gets the job done. I drive on the highway every single day. The gas mileage, I actually just did a video about, I don't really care about the gas mileage, but I'm actually going to start tracking to see what's my actual fuel economy. But some people say this engine has some ups and some downs. I had some bad experience before. I had another Jeep Wrangler, had some bad experiences with that one, but this one honestly has been pretty bulletproof. Granted though, this one has relatively lower miles considering this is a 2010. I can't really speak for when it gets up in the miles, but so far everything's pretty good, and I think it's a decent engine. Yeah, so that's going to be the biggest contributing factor is the new Pentastar, which Fiat Chrysler puts inside literally everything, versus this older one, which is definitely it's a bit older technology. It's not as old as the TJs and the YJs, but it's still kind of old. So the big question is, with those things in mind, is it still worth buying a first gen JKU, or should you just get the newer gen? Actually, I would say that if you're someone who's younger and you really want a Jeep Wrangler and you don't necessarily want the TJ or the YJ, the older ones, I would say getting a first gen JKU or just JK, it's totally fine, and it's acceptable. Now that they're going down in price, I've seen some, hit, within like $12,000. Granted though, that's going to be really high miles ones, but if you're looking to get a Jeep Wrangler and, you don't want to spend, like $30,000 on buying a newer one, I would say getting the first gen, it still is a viable option if you can get around the interior and the engine. And, me, this is from my personal experience, I think this interior, like I said before, it's okay. It's honestly not that bad. I do like it. It seems a bit more rugged, and honestly, yeah, like one time I had the roof off and it started downpouring, and I didn't worry at all. Even though I know inside the newer Jeeps, it's still waterproof, but I would feel really bad if the interior got soaked inside of the newer Jeep versus this one. Granted though, how many times is that really going to happen? But with that in mind though, yeah, this interior, I honestly have no you know, concerns if it rains or if it gets wet. I'm like, it's fine. Literally, I took out the carpets and I hosed down the floors in here. And I did a video on that as well, so check that video out if you're looking for that. But yeah, so I took the carpets out, hosed it down, did everything like that. Granted, you can still do that in the newer Jeeps. It's just a little bit more of a hassle, and the interior is a little bit nicer, so you don't really want to kind of do that type of thing. It really depends on what you're looking for. And just for some comparison's sake, I did a quick lookup of just some Jeep prices. Now, this is for a two-door 2008 Jeep Wrangler X. This one right here, as you can see, this one's going for $12,495. So that's a pretty decent price, honestly. You know, if you're looking for a two-door Wrangler at 2008. How many miles are on this one? We have 133,000 miles. I mean, that's a lot of miles, but yeah, you know, that's still something. This one is a 2012, and as you can see, this one is essentially $20,000. So that's a $7,500 jump. And how many miles is on this one? We have 124,000 miles. Granted, that is with the newer 3.6 engine. Granted, though, that's still a 4-year gap, you know, between them, but the mileage honestly isn't that far off. And you know, granted, though, that is a Sahara, so that's not a direct comparison, but you get what I'm trying to say. If you're looking to buy a Jeep Wrangler, you know, it really just depends on what you're looking for. You can find these older ones a little bit cheaper, and you're paying so much more for the newer ones versus these older ones. So it really just comes down to what do you really want. So with that being said, I think it's still worth buying the older gens or the first gen JKUs. If you're looking for something that's a little bit nicer than the TJs, they're still in the same price range of getting either the JK or the JKU. If you're looking for the 4-door Jeep, I think getting the first gen, it's still a viable option. Guys, that's just my 2 cents. I'm not an expert. You know, so it's really just, it's all up to your personal opinion. But let me know in the comment section, do you guys have the first gens or do you guys have second gens, or what would you buy? Let me know in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a like. Check out some of the other videos that I've done. I've done a lot of other videos on this Jeep. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch more. So if you like this type of content, check out my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.